and love, everyone, and welcome to the Buffalo Juneteenth Festival Maafa Memorial. We want you to watch this experience, and don't just watch it, take it in. Breathe in it. Think about everybody who is special to you, who have transitioned to ancestor, from our great African past to our wonderful present, and even those who will be coming in the future. In the greatness of our African family and your African family, we are all one family in the circle of life. Is that the circle and cycle of life continues. Maafa literally means the great disaster. The moment that our people begin to be ripped away from our culture, our God, our norm ways, our folk ways, our religion, our education, it began to be compromised, and it led to all of our family members, mother, father, and child, being taken from our villages, our nations, and then transported across the water to the places that are now known as Europe, the Americas, everywhere around the diaspora of the world. We are here to say thank you, Asante Sana, today. We are here to say not only we remember you, but we will not forget. And we are here to say we affirm you and we will continue. Ashe, which means we move forward in the spirit. It is so. So sit back, get comfortable, think of all of the people who you love and cherish. This is a remembrance, but it's also the waters of renewal.
Greetings. I am Ross Jomo, Project Access to Africa, Executive Vice President of Juneteenth Festival. And I just want to relay some messages, some sounds that have been following us from inception. And that is the sound of the drum, the sound of beat, the sound of rhythm. Long before we were brought to the shores of the outer African places, our history and our culture had already given us sound, balance, and energy. After coming to the Americas, one of the things that became evident is that playing the drums made it very difficult to control African people. The exercise, the dancing, the communication, even across languages, was consistent. One of the ways to break the will and the spirit and the connectivity of Africans was to make drumming illegal. In the United States of America, drumming was made illegal except in the Congo Square. Dancing, doing our traditional things was made illegal. So we're talking about systematic attempts to stop our cultural continuity and our cultural unity. Today, many people are playing, utilizing the drums, having leisure, fun, and a good time. I'm going to invite us all, one, to participate in our own history and culture, and two, I want us to begin to learn the stories, the histories, the songs, and what was going on as the culture of our music is understood deeper. The drums were not just made because of a quick sound bite or because of a quick video to make someone feel happy. There is culture in why drumming was done. We are here at the water. There are sons that are talking songs, drum songs and dances, that are talking about fishing, that are talking about harvesting, that are talking about very important trips, communal, historic movements in time and history, things that have to do with transitioning from being a child to young adult. These are the songs that we are hearing within the drum culture. Now we need to understand what the culture has been saying to us. Thank you. Maimbo, maimbo, mama, maimbo, kakilambe, mune, maimbo, maimbo, mama, maimbo, kakilambe.
of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is
Hotep, 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 everybody. This is your brother Sam Radford. Honored to be here with you at the Juneteenth Festival, our 46th annual Juneteenth Festival here in Buffalo, New York. I am honored to be able to come before you today to do the annual Juneteenth libation. Listen, in everything we do, we don't do anything without acknowledging the presence of our elders. If you're an elder and you out there in the audience, please raise your hand. Know that we are acknowledging you, we acknowledging your presence, and we honoring you. And so in honoring you, we asking you right now, elders, we begin by requesting your permission to start this libation ceremony. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, elders, because without you, you're the bridge that we crossed over on. Without you keeping the truth alive about who our ancestors are, who our God is, we would not know them. So we honor your presence, elders. So we also, in everything we do, we want to acknowledge the presence of a true and living God. We know without God, we would not be present. We give God thanks for his omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence, and we thank you for your grace and your mercy. And so with that, we want to do a special libation ceremony acknowledging our ancestors. Because without our ancestors, there would be no us. So I want everybody in the audience, this is really, really, really important. This is a critical part of who we are. This is a critical part of sustaining who we are. We need everybody to now remember. Go back and remember who are your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents. Remember the names that you have a personal responsibility to keep their name alive. Because if you don't say their name won't be said. So we want you to think about that. We wanted you to think about the people who have sacrificed their life so that we can be here today. People who have poured into us so we can be here today. This is our African libation ceremony. So what we want to do first and foremost, we want to acknowledge all of our ancestors. The way we do that, the word libation means to pour an offering. The very breath that we breathe is a poured offering that comes to us from our Creator. So we are going to now pour offering to all those ancestors. I want you to remember that the very blood in your body, the cells in your body, your DNA that comes to you from your ancestors. Our ancestors are still here with us right now. They're here with us through you. So we want you to call on their names, to acknowledge them. And what a wonderful place to call on the name of our ancestors. Look at the wonderful place that we are in, that we can acknowledge our ancestors. So we're going to now pour a libation. And as I pour a libation, I want you to call out the names. I'm going to call out some names first and foremost. We want to acknowledge all of our ancestors who have been responsible for how we got here to this country. All those ancestors from the Middle Passages who sacrificed their lives or who lost their lives, in the Middle Passages. We want to call on their names. We want to call on their energy. We want to call on their presence. And as I pour, you say Ashe. Ashe. And that's another way of saying it is so. So be it. You know what I'm saying? So we want to acknowledge that their spirit is now present with us. We want to acknowledge all those great ancestors in this country who sojourned in a way that their struggle has transferred down to us today. We want to call out the name of Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser. We want to call out the names of Harriet Tubman. We want to call out the names of Phyllis Wheatley. We want to call out the name of Mary McLeod Bethune. We want to call out the name of Ella Baker. We want to call out the name of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. We want to call out the names of Imhotep. We want to call out the names of Akhenaten. We want to call out those great Africans who lived a life that continues to inspire us today. But more importantly, as we continue to call out these names, it's important for you to call out those names of those people directly connected to you. So let me say that I have a personal responsibility to call out the name of my grandmother, Mary May Liza Coleman. Woo, I just light up when I say that name. That woman loved me. She taught me what it means to be loved. I know what it means to be loved because of her. Let me call out the name of my other grandmother, Lorraine Chisholm. You know what I'm saying? She was that woman who saw the best part of me even when I couldn't see it. Let me call out the name of my grandfather, Samuel Radford Sr., and my other grandfather, Joseph Coleman Sr. I want to call out the name of those ancestors who walk with me and who talk with me. I want to call out Brother Iman. I want to call out Lumen Ross. I want to call out the name of Mother Peggy. Mother Peggy. I know you would. I just want to call the name Sister Ietta. And I know there are names that you have to call. So I want to take these last few minutes. Now I want you to call their spirits into the room. And I know you feeling how I'm feeling right now. As you see Mother Peggy and all the ancestors, Brother Bill Peoples, as you see, Brother Johnny B. Wiley, as you see them walk into the room, their energies come present, we are all reassured that we can make it and that we can go further. So I want you to continue to call the names of the ancestors as we continue to say, Ashe. I hear them names. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Ashe. Ashe. Yes, I hear them. I hear the ancestors. I hear them. Keep calling the names. Ashe. We hear them in the wind. You hear that? They talking back to us. Ashe. Ashe. Oh my gosh, the ancestors, we honor you. We honor your presence. We asking you to bring a blessing, to be in our midst as we go through this Juneteenth celebrations, ancestors, that the things we do may be pleasing in your sight, and that it may advance our culture. It may advance the name of our God. We give all these blessings, and we call on this libation in the name of all those ancestors. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. Hotep, everybody. Happy Juneteenth.
Take care. I know you feel like ain't nobody there. I know that you're a good person and life just ain't fair. No, you're surrounded by people and you still feel alone. I know they're looking at you crazy and you're too afraid to share. Take care. I know the bills keep piling up, and the bills don't care that you're just down on your luck. And while you're trying to stay afloat, I know they cut your phone off, and like the straw that broke the camel's back, enough is enough. I know you're smiling outside, but inside you're in a rut. And at this point, you'll do whatever just to keep your head up. So in the meantime, pay attention to what you do for a buck. Because the trap is a trap, and you might get stuck. And you can have everything that the world has to give, and it might still spit you out after chewing you up. So take care. I see the family problems, how they get you down. Misunderstood, and they still don't see why you don't come around. And when you do show up, why you don't make a sound. You won't even walk around. It's like you're tethered to the ground. You know that something's wrong, but can't put your finger on it. Holding on to all that pain, although you don't really want it. And no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to explain it. So the frustration becomes a box, and the goal is to contain it. Place that box up on a shelf and act like it ain't even there. Because healing just seems harder than pretending you don't care or admitting that you're scared and that you need a little help. So you paint on a fake smile and you pretend that you've dealt. And that box stays alive in the back of your brain, and it haunts you every moment till you think you'll go insane, but you don't. Because it's important that they only see you win. Sometimes those who look out forget to look within. Sometimes Sometimes we neglect ourselves, always trying to lend a hand. So busy trying to be the bridge that we forget to be the land. Ground yourself. Deep breath. What will get you through the day? Find yourself. Tell your truth. It's fine not to be okay. Write a plan. Make it plain. Decide what you need to do. It is a fact that you are good to none if you're no good to you. So take care. Remember, someone's there, and trust me, you are seen. It may get hard. You may get lonely, but the grass is still green. The sun shines in your likeness. You have no choice but to beam. And when your light is bright, pitch black isn't as dark as it may seem. So take care. I wish the little black boy did something wrong. I wish the police yelled, "Freeze!" And the little black boy came barreling at him, aiming a gun at ease, actually life-threatening. So when the cops have to fight and the bullets take flight, no one has to hide and no one has to lie because the little black boy did something wrong this time. I wish the video of the incident leaked on Facebook and the whole world tuned in to get a better look, and we could all collectively say, yeah, that sucks, but he had it coming all along because this time the little black boy did something wrong. I wish I could watch it on TV with my nephews and say, you see what he just did? That's something you should never do. Because it's easier to explain why he's laying dead in the street, bullet wounds still steaming from the lead and the heat, than to say no justice, no peace, or RIP because the little black boy did nothing wrong. And it's easier to explain what's wrong and what's right, what's black and what's white than the in-between where gray lies. And it's easier to mourn the loss of someone. A mother burying her son when you can look at her and say, I am so sorry, mama, but this time your little black boy was wrong. Black Lives Matters is not a badge of honor. It's not a hate group. It's a message to our youth. A reminder saying you mean something in a world where if you go 10 miles over the speed limit, they might try to kill you. And I'm so tired of saying, put the guns down, little black boys. The right to bear arms doesn't apply to you. And if your jeans are too baggy or your voice is too loud or you know your rights or you live on the good side of town or you live in the hood or your job is too good or your car is too nice or your skin ain't light or your money's too long or your personality is too strong, be careful out there because you might be gone even if you're a little black boy who did nothing wrong. And in case you haven't noticed, we're still singing that same song. See, we've always been chosen when it was time for the killing the way you choose a tomato that's ripe for the picking. I thought targets were red. When did they become black? I thought the abuse of power was dead. When did it come back? And maybe it never left, but when did it get this bad? When did the allure of equality make us wave the white flag? We've always protested the killings. We marched when Dr. King had a dream. He preached a message of freedom and we believed everything. We looked to the hills with hope of free and better days, but we didn't notice that we were still targets, just targets in different ways. They didn't kill us as much, but we were still their slaves. And they used systematic oppression instead of whips and chains. They compared us to each other like some were better, not the same. Like we weren't all stuffed on the same boats, like we didn't get here the same way. They locked us in cells and they threw the keys away. They left us broke and in the hood, they didn't even need a grave. They sent us to the schools that were falling apart. When we finally found our leaders, they stabbed us in the heart, they sicked their dogs on us, and they hung us from trees. They made it very clear that we were never really free. You see, we drank from different fountains. Success with different tools, we used the back door, we followed different rules. We were taught that we were different, and that different ain't right. That's why to this day, speaking proper is speaking white. But as our standards rose, their fears grew. They were stunned when we sat at that counter singing, "We shall not be moved." And they were afraid when Rosa Parks sat at the front of the bus, and when a white man wanted her seat, she refused to get up. They panicked when Malcolm X gathered a group of his brothers to police the police and make life safer for each other. And when Angela Davis proclaimed, "We ain't scared no more," we gave the ones who wanted us scared a new goal to reach for. They realized they couldn't kill our spirits. They couldn't kill our souls, they couldn't kill our minds, and they couldn't kill our hope. So they targeted our black boys who did nothing wrong, and they killed them for wearing hoodies and playing with toy guns. They choked them for selling Lucy's, ignored the "I can't breathe," and they didn't get in trouble. They seemed to walk away scot-free, but we can't let them get away with anything. So while they target us as individuals, we have to build our team. We have to show our youth that they are worth something and teach them to aspire for more than a pair of Jordans and some bling. When you know better, you do better. So allow me to preach. There is nothing we can't do. There is no goal beyond our reach. We are culture creators. They want to be like us, match our style, match our swag, and they still ain't dope enough. They will try to keep us down, and they will continue to be mad. So let us be great. Ignore the hate. As a matter of fact, they can target that.
Atlantic libation. And I saw the Atlantic move and dance, place me in a state of stillness where I fell in an all-night trance. Waves rolling truth, speaking reality, awakening the youth to what's really going on in this song. The waves moving and dancing, still singing the songs of our ancestors long gone. I feel antiquity dancing in my soul right now. Stop, stop. Somebody turn off that faucet. Someone lull me back to consciously sleeping away from the painful life of the black man. Stop. Give me a moment to swim the waves and behave in this moment where I am just natural. And I saw the Atlantic move and dance, place me in a state of stillness where I fell in an all-night trance. Waves rolling truth, speaking reality, awakening the youth to what's really going on in this song. Stop, stop. Someone turn off that faucet. Someone lull me back to sleep. I don't want to hear words like mission, revolution, or African feet jumping into the ocean. Stop. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be near it. Share your secrets with someone else. I am not the chosen one. I just want to float. I just want to ride the waves endlessly on the horizon. But the ancestors keep naming me. The ancestors keep claiming me. I be, I am, I will be captive until I free myself of it all. Turning around the ships, reversing the direction of the whips, and recharting the nighttime navigational paths all the way back to Africa. And I saw the Atlantic move and dance, place me in a state of stillness where I fell in an all-night trance. And I saw the Atlantic move and dance, place me in a state of stillness where I fell in an all-night trance. And I saw the Atlantic move and dance, place me in a state of stillness where I fell in an all-night trance. And I saw the Atlantic move and dance, place me in a state of stillness where I fell into an all-night trance.
The idea of the Maafa was developed by Dr. Marimba Ani, author of the book Yurugu, an African-centered cultural or critique of European cultural behavior and thought. Through her seminal work published in 1994, Dr. Ani describes the impact of the African people's lived experiences resulting from our contact with colonial powers of Europe, from our position as the sole inhabitants of our homeland to our present position as the children of the African diaspora. Dr. Ani reframes the historical development of Africa using the values and experiences and perspectives of the African people. Putting the experiences of the African people in African terms, Dr. Ani adopted the Kiswahili term Maafa. The Maafa is usually discussed as an event, as a terrible occurrence, or as a great disaster that occurred in the lived experience of the African people. But Dr. Ani helps us to understand the Maafa in a much deeper sense. For example, the Jewish Holocaust was a monstrous 10-year campaign of torture, captivity, and genocide. It was a vile and vicious campaign with the goal of erasing the Jewish people from the German state. Monstrous as it was, much of the developed world community came together and ended the Holocaust. Massive resources were mounted, giving the Jewish people a homeland, giving them money to build a new society, giving them resources to defend their acquired land. But despite the abuses inflicted upon them, they preserved their religion, they preserved their language, they preserved their memories, and saw much of their stolen wealth and treasures restored. But the Maafa, as applied to the lived experiences of the African people, is something more. The Maafa is a malevolent malignancy that arose in the spirits of the European colonizers. This spirit infected itself across the continent of Africa, tearing apart historic civilizations, destroying cities, wiping out whole cultures, kidnapping tens of millions of African people. That malignant spirit, which found fertile soil in virtually every European country, came to see the people of Africa as a resource they could exploit, and to see Africa's lands and wealth as available for their taking. Over a span of several centuries, the Maafa grew from conquest of coastal cities, kidnapping and recruiting kidnappers of African people, provoking wars to create prisoners of war, to be sold into chattel slavery, to stealing virtually all of Africa's lands, creating new national boundaries reflecting the spoils of conquerors, killing and then dispersing tens of millions of African people to be used as farm animals or as industrial inputs. That malignant spirit took our children, raped our women, redefined being black as being an owned or an unowned slave. It took away our languages, our religion, our names, our memories of ourselves. It literally infected into itself, into the psyche and subconscious of our people, seeking to transform us into a new creature that never existed before, a Negro. They invented a Negro personality and infected it into the enslaved African people under the penalty of the whip or death, to change the African people into the resource they intended us to be. The Maafa inflicted upon the lived experience of the African people continues to this very day. Today, an African person is more afraid of being murdered, robbed, or abused by another African person than by a child of the malignancy. African people who have been the founders of civilization are trapped into dysfunctional schools, living in the most toxic environments, with unaffordable, inaccessible health care, with per household wealth that's so poor it can't support a week worth of expenses on saved income. The Maafa continues. It remains a malignant, malevolent, almost physical spirit that stains the very memory of the African people, and it is not satisfied yet with stealing our lands and our resources, our labor, even our lives. But the coarse seed of the African spirit is not dead. The children of the malignancy have not succeeded. Our elders have managed to preserve the way forward to recover ourselves. Dr. Ani combines African concepts to describe the African personality, values, and way of life that should be normative of our people, in what she describes as our asili, the central seed or germinating matrix of indigenous African culture. The reborn African people who recover who we are, who we have been, what we have done, and what we can do again, must use an African-centered education to restructure our thoughts in what Dr. Ani refers to as Utamawazo, the African worldview. The re-education of ourselves in our own terms can only be accomplished if we reconnect ourselves to our indigenous culture, to the Utamoroho, our culture's vital force that motivates the collective behaviors of our people. It will be through our recovery of ourselves that we achieve Ukombozi, the redemption of ourselves by ourselves. Our greatest greatness is yet before us. To reach that future, it will be necessary for us to look into our own past through our own eyes, that we might see clearly who we have been, who we are, how we have been, what made us who we were, that we might return again to the original place to begin again, to become again the great people to the one God entrusted an entire world. I thank you, Asante Santini.
We are Daughters of Creative Sound, and we're honored to be here this evening as a part of our annual Maafa, an opportunity to honor, remember our ancestors, and to celebrate what they gave us, to remember the shoulders upon which we stand and the bridges they created over which we cross. We are an African-American women's drum and percussion ensemble. We've been around since 2004, performing around Western New York and beyond. And once again, it is truly an honor to be with you.
Our first song will be Ishe Oluwa, a Yoruba song that means God's work can never be destroyed. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Kole baje o. Kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Kole baje o. Kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. Kole baje o. Kole baje o. Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o.
Peace and love. Peace, love, and Black power. I am Sister Patricia Alinda Elliott, or also known as Queen Aquila. May I please have permission from the elders to begin? Oh, Ashe. With permission from my elders to begin, I am Queen Aquila Yohera. And today we're celebrating the Maafa. Today I'm reflecting on peace, I'm reflecting on love, and I'm reflecting on the power and strength of the wonderful man, the wonderful tower of a human being, Brother Bill Peoples, Brother Bill Peoples. We all know Brother Bill, Umoja Incorporated. Brother Bill was somebody that I highly respected, highly admired. He's the kind of man that when he speaks, you listen. Whenever he made a decision, you knew that that decision was going to come to fruition. Brother Bill kept his word. He was a man's man. Other men looked up to him. Other men wanted to be like him. Women loved him. He was a handsome man. Brother Bill, in all his strength and in all his power, he was also yet very gentle. Brother Bill was very humble. And he had a direct connection to the power of God. A direct connection to the voice of God. Brother Bill Peoples talked often about what God gave him to do today. He knew his purpose. He understood through his purpose, he was going to bring the purpose of our community back to itself. What do I mean by that? Umoja, unity. The first principle of the Nguzo Saba. That thing which brings us together, that binds us, that connectedness that we share. Brother Bill gave us a way to stay connected, a way to practice Sankofa, a way to honor the will and direct purpose that God had given him for his life. What a wonderful task. What a wonderful task it was to be able to know that God has given you the grace, the ability, the talent, the finances, everything you needed. Nothing ever went lacking. His vision was flawless. I don't know how long I've spoken, but what I do know is William Bill Peoples will live on. Just like this water that flows, just like this river is forever moving, his legacy will continue. His legacy will live on. And from his legacy will begin new vision from his children, from his posterity, from his children's children. Brother Bill Peoples will not die. His memory will be with us. Just like our ancestors, he's our great ancestor. Just like our ancestors crossed this river to freedom. William Bill Peoples has freed himself through living out the purpose that God has given him and giving it to the community that loves him. I thank you. Peace, love, Black power, and Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe, peace and love. My name is Carone Yvonne Crump, an esteemed board member of Juneteenth Festival, and I am here on behalf of a good friend and a cultural pillar in the community, Gwendolyn Neal Ayetta Latisse. Ayetta, as she was so culturally and lovingly called, was a pillar in our community, very culturally astute, a mentor for many, many organizations. Ayetta, she was my personal best friend, also, to say the least. She attended all of cultural organizations, many boards, the board of the African American Cultural Center. She was president of SCLC and always attended our Juneteenths, Kwanzaa's. She held many, many hats in the cultural community, and a lot of people looked up to her because of her beautiful presence, her esteemed, acute knowledge and culture. And for that, I'll be forever grateful to Ayetta. When I first started my cultural path, Ayetta was one of the first ones that I just saw. She just stood out to me as someone that I really wanted to emulate culturally, and how she spoke and in her beauty. I know a lot of times we would travel to an organization, ASCAT, which she was very dearly beloved within the Black scholars when we would travel around the country. She was just that cultural queen sister icon that we could just all look up to, and I will be forever grateful for being able to cross paths with Ayetta and for her to make the impact that she did in the community culturally, with her beautiful smile, just her being of service to people in the community. And for that, again, I'll just be forever grateful. So we love and appreciate her, and I'm so happy and grateful that she'll be represented with this Juneteenth piece. Thank you so much.
Happy Juneteenth, Sister Carlonda here with my cousin Gina Heath, and we are here in honor of Mother Peggy, who we all miss so dearly. We are here for the tradition of the Maafa, which we know is the great tragedy where historians have said that 12 million slaves lost their lives, and such a tragedy. And we also know that as we stand here today, here at Broderick Park, where we know has such historical value from our ancestors, we still are experiencing tragedies as a people, as a nation, and as a mother. And so I just encourage us all to let us be authentic, let us be transparent, and let us always pay homage to our ancestors that have paved the way for us. Even though we stand here in remembrance of the tragedy that took place of our ancestors, I ask that we dig deep in thought, we pray and meditate and think about the good things that they will want us to carry on and pass to our younger folks and those of the future generations. Let us take the strength that they embodied. Let us take the wisdom that they received from the spiritual transistors that they had, and let us make sure that we are sharing those experiences, those stories and things that our ancestors, like my aunt, has taught us, and carry it on to our babies so that they may continue on the goodness that our ancestors that possessed, that we are here today celebrating.
Hi, Hotep. I'm here in celebration of my mother. First of all, I'd like to ask permission to speak from my elders, and they all said yes. I would be, I have to do that. But my mother was huge in the community. Queen Mother, Mother Peggy, Mama Heath, Aunt Peg, ma, sister, daughter. So she is truly missed. We lost her July 5th, 2020. And I would just like to read a poem, a very short poem that my mother, one of her favorite authors, James Baldwin. And she quoted this a lot. To be an African American is to be an African without memory.
Yes.
And an American with no privilege. James Baldwin. May my mother rest in heaven. And this is truly her legacy, my legacy. She has left us truly armored with who we are as a people. HOTAP.
And we wear her garments today
this is
in
my
her
mother's day.
honor
Yes.
to celebrate, to bring her spirit, embody her spirit here with us.
Yes.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
HOTAP.
HOTAP.
Hello, my name is Shantina Moore, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Ujima Theater Company, or Ujima Co. Inc. I'm here today to send peace and love and blessings to our sister, our ancestor, Lorna C. Hill. Lorna was amazing. She left a legacy for us all to continue. She established founded Ujima Company in 1978, and it still continues today. We're still going strong, and we move forward in the spirit of Lorna. Some of the words she left us with were moving forward in justice and love, and also thinking about our community, our beloved community, which Ujima serves. We stand here and we move forward in the spirit of Lorna, who feels eternal. It feels eternal, like she'll be here forever. Her spirit will be with us forever as we continue. We are grateful to her for her blessings and the love that she has given us, the lessons that she has given us. Personally, she saw something in me that I did not see. She thought that I could act. And I'm an actor. I'm also a member of the theater company. And that was one of the gifts that Lorna shared with us. She saw the potential in many people. And with that potential, we move forward. We identify our skills and we share them with our community. We identify our skills and we bless the community with telling stories of those who can't tell stories for themselves. So we at Ujima will continue to tell the story. We will continue to share Lorna's story. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Keandra, and I have the honor and the pleasure of being the daughter of Crystal Roxanne Sekile Austin Seymour, who has been an awesome queen in the community, who, if she taught you nothing else, you knew that, like her, mediocrity was, well, unacceptable. She was tutoring, she taught both in a school and outside, and education was her base, her rock, and her pillar. Funny, I always said I would never be into teaching, and here I am, another year of 5th grade in the midst of a pandemic, but it's all right, we made it. The school year's almost over, and Mom's been gone almost 2 years now. It doesn't feel like it, but her body's gone, her spirit's not. I carry her everywhere, and so do so many adults, children. She was a member of the Juneteenth committee. She was also on the Kwanzaa committee, and she carried me along with her everywhere, from committee meetings to helping out with the Karamu feast to cleanup and everything else. And it has been an amazing journey, and she left such a footprint. I don't know if my feet are going to be big enough, but you know what? I'm sure enough going to try.
Hi, I'm introducing to you Lemmy Menifee Brown. Lemmy was a volunteer that came in at the last minute to work logistics. I called her at 11 o'clock at night and asked her if she could be there at 7 a.m. to work logistics. Of course, she didn't know what logistics was, and I told her it was mainly to make sure that we passed out our tables and chairs and received them back. Over the years, Lemmy worked on several committees. She worked on the building committee, which was a committee that took care of the building. When we had water coming in through the basement, Lemmy made sure that we had a permanent solution so we wouldn't have that problem again. She also brought all the display cabinets and that we have in the building right now, displaying our artifacts and what have you in it. She worked on the sales committee. When she realized that we were paying Pepsi every year to use their trailer, she had her husband to build us a permanent stand to sell our poppin' ice with that we still use to this day. As far as working on the other committees, Lemmy was a seamstress. She helped everyone with their sewing of the costumes or whatever we needed for the building. She showed us how to cut our tablecloths for the card tables in a jiffy. Lemmy was also a good volunteer as far as helping with the summer youth programs. When we could not get the water buffalo for the park, Lemmy made sure we had a water grade hose that the vendors could use for their drinking and cooking of their products at the festival. Lemmy was an extraordinary volunteer, and she was also a wonderful friend. Thank you.
Sac passe. Sac passe. This is the Haiti Creole expression for what's happening. We say habari gani. What is the news of the day? What's happening? Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. We give thanks and praises to the Most High divine energy that permeates through us all. We come here for the Maafa ceremony to speak of the most horrific, the most horrible tragedy to have happened to African people on this planet. We are offering flowers today in our ceremony in remembrance of those who have come before us, our ancestors. We ourselves are flowers of the Earth Mother. We are nourished by the waters. We flow from the sun. And in our divine essence, we permeate the air with our breath. Today, we want to say that for the most horrific thing that has happened to a people, we still give thanks to be here, to share, and to talk about those who have come before. I'm stopped. What else do I want to say? Even though we live among or along with a lot of negative energy, it is our energy and our divinity that must bring us to higher levels of existence, that must bring us up with our divine love to wipe out the negative hate that tries to create confusion on the planet. So with that, if you have anyone in mind, a hero or a shero, that you would like to offer flowers to the water, we ask you to come forth to get your flower or your petals and offer to those who are dear to you. There is a name I would like to call for, and that is Elijah McCain. Elijah McCain, a divine spirit who was taken by negative energies. Also, our beloved sister, Mother Gail, our Queen Mother, who in the city of Buffalo has run an African store with her husband for 20 to 30 years. She has offered so much to our community. I want to recognize her today. So to all mothers and all fathers, to all those who have mothered or fathered, we say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Please come forward and get your flowers. So Eric, you wanted to speak, you want to say, offer to someone? Yeah. He said you could take your mask off.
I'd like to offer this flower to my great-grandparents, Winifred and Leonard Russell.
You guys, you come. You could take from here. Anything you want, petals, flowers.
I'd like to offer this flower to Breonna Taylor.
Ashe. Ashe.
I'd like to offer this flower to my mother, Evelyn Cooper. father, Charlie Cooper, and my aunt, Arthur Deshay.
Ashe, Ashe. And to my divine mother, Queen Mother Charlotte. She is the matriarch for all of us on this side. Ashe. Peace be with you.